What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pedro and Hannibal podcast. My name is Hannibal. That guy over there, his name is Pedro. And shout out real quick to Nova Dasher texting me before the show, disrupting me.
Oh,
He disrupted me.
what did he say?
Is that a
What did
word?
he say?
He disrupted me, Pedro. You know what he said to me?
He clearly disrupted you because you can't even talk right now. So what's going
more
on?
than
What's going on?
I can't normally talk. Saying make sure you talk about how terrible Ben Simmons is playing. The play they fouled out more fouls than
didn't
points.
take long.
Yeah, I was triggered. Listen, it's first game. It's the first game.
It's the first game. What happened though? What happened? He fouled.
He fouled. Yeah, they're not doing well. I don't know if the game is still on. They're going to probably lose. They played the Pelicans at home. I don't know. They don't have enough strong big men, and they were getting bottled up with Zion and the crew. So
Zion's gonna have a good year.
Yeah.
I think. I hope he does.
Definitely.
I'm rooting for him.
Stephen A. also I find him annoying too because basically he has the Nets to win everything. He jinxed it. He should be talking about the damn Knicks. I don't like it at all. I mean, I want to be the one that says the Nets are going to win a championship. Now he put all of his chips on the table, so I don't appreciate that. But
I think I wrote that down when you said that. Hold on, you said that. I have it logged in my little logbook here somewhere. Hold on, give me like. Hold on, let me see if I can't pull it up.
Oh, Pedro.
Oh, here it is. Hold on. That was on August 24th.
Yeah.
Hannibal says Nets win. So I have it in writing, guys. You guys see that?
Yes,
there it is.
Fair enough. You know what? I should put some money in it because if it does happen, I'm going to be like Nostradamus, greatest better.
Listen,
of all
if
time.
it happens, bro, I'll be so happy for you. I'm not even gonna front, but it ain't gonna happen. So.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the Knicks played too, and they're putting up actually a decent game against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis. I saw a little bit of that when I was watching. I think Memphis was up like 9 or something. This was like an hour ago, but I didn't. Yeah. I don't know what's happening now.
They're tied right now with 3 seconds left. So,
nice.
Have you seen the last, the NBA season started yesterday for us. Have you seen the many games? I know you're busy running around.
I watched one. I watched the end of the Celtics game versus Sixers. Celtics look real good. Tatum and Brown right where they left. Well, not where they left off, but they look 70 points. They combined for 70. I think they each dropped a 35 piece. Tatum had like 12 boards. I mean, and that Sixers are a good team. So I like that. I like the energy of the new coach. I don't know who he is, but I like good start to the season for them. I tried to watch the Warriors and Lakers and found out it was painfully obvious to me the Warriors are going to be really good this year.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but they're just a really good team. They're just really good. And the Lakers are really
people.
They do, and they play really well. Their ball movement is amazing. And the Lakers got names, but they're old. They can't compete in today's NBA. I think it's going to be a really rough year. I still think if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, he'll put up big numbers, but they need to figure out how to play in today's NBA. And I don't think they got the pieces, but it's going to be, I don't know. It wasn't a good look for them opening night.
If Patrick Beverley is your biggest acquisition of the offseason, that shows exactly where you're going to be. If you are any team, if Pat Bev is the guy who, I'm sorry, he's overrated. He's extremely over. His mouth is, he'll do great. He'll be a Charles Barkley type of person. And shout out to Charles Barkley signing a 10-year, $200 million contract. He deserves it.
He makes that TNT show. He is so good. He's unapologetic, funny, but he's funny. He
doesn't bull, no bullshit. And it's actually one of my favorite clips I actually put on, because he makes me laugh. I think he makes everyone laugh, but this is the funniest thing he ever did. I'm gonna just show it right now. It was a minute, but I don't know when it happened. It was definitely the Warriors were playing the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably remember this clip. Let me show you real quick.
Bang, and then hit him with the chemological on count. You can't bang and go through or get it inside reverse, outside reverse pivot, make quick move. You have to get a small guy.
Well, the only way a small guy can guard a guy like yourself or Joker is to take their legs away. So you're smaller, you're taking their base. So they're leaning in.
That's not what Draymond's doing. Draymond is bracing. Yeah. And Joker, instead of going around him, he just banging and banging and banging. When a guy's banging you,
you spin off of him. Those are the worst defenders to play against, actually, because if you can feel their body, come on.
18 points for Joker, only Nugget in double figures. 69-59. Golden State shooting 67.
You're way out of order right now. You're way out
Back at the pool party.
way out of order.
When a man is banging you, you know, you gotta spin off
spin out of it.
You gotta spin off because man, you feel that man's body. And I love the fact that he just says, "Come on!" Like you realize that was
He's
the biggest.
good. And Shaq is really good on that show.
Yeah,
Ernie is the lead in the convo. Kenny's, he's good too, but
They all have their
that show's
place.
really good. Yeah, it's really good.
So definitely shout out to him making probably more money than he ever made playing, and he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest power forwards of all time. So it's good that you could find your second, third coming to a large bag. I think he made a joke about it in yesterday too, like going to the bank, and so it's great that he's doing his thing. But I'm sad for my Nets. First game, not good, but it's just one game. It's fine.
You got the Giants still. Giants look good, so you're all right.
5-1 Giants. The Yankees, even though I don't watch any baseball at all, but they're going to play a team. They're going to play
the Astros.
Oh, you're the baseball. Well, you are. Yes,
I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit.
You're Puerto Rican, so
that's very stereotypical, but very accurate. Actually,
I like chicken. Fried chicken is delicious. You tell me.
You can say it. I won't.
You won't say it.
I won't say it. You can.
All right. So talk about stereotypes. We'll jump in to this weird story about the NHL. So there's let me see if I can find her name. I guess the NHL hired this person. Her name is Kim Davis. She is the NHL EVP of Social Impact Growth and Legislative Affairs. What the hell does that mean?
Hold on. That's a EVP, Social Impact Growth and Legislative Affairs. Okay, so is that like the way of saying like inclusive or like what is EVP?
Oh yeah, it's a made up title. She's there because they need to figure something out.
She's a woman of color. I can kind of see her.
Yeah. Okay. She definitely looks like Camilla Harris's like sister.
Okay, got it. She does.
So the NHL had their first internal demographic study. They needed to study this, y'all, and found out. Now brace yourselves. The majority of the workforce is white.
Oh, in the NHL? Oh no.
Overwhelmingly white. I couldn't. I dropped everything when I hold my son dropped him. I couldn't believe it. I heard the news. So there's there's like a 1 minute clip of her talking about this. So let's just put it.
It says that we are where we expected to be, but now we have the facts to back it up. I think the one area that we are feeling positive about is that 38% of our workforce are women. We've done a lot of work to improve in that area. And it's very consistent with our current female fan base of 40%, and so that's a great benchmark. Having said that, we know we have work to do with women of color, and we're leaning into that. I think the thing that you should take away from the workforce study is that it is a progressive outlook on how you begin to manage your talent. And it is progressive in that it's a self-identified report. So of our approximately 4,200 employees across the league and the club, 67% of our employees participated in it, and this is how they self-identified. And we will take this benchmark every 2 years.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, guys,
wow,
a lot of people who are working in the National Hockey League are white, and that's a problem. So, what do you think, Pedro? Like, do you watch hockey?
I don't watch it. When my Chicago Blackhawks were good, I'm a fair weather. I'm a Blackhawks fan, but for about 10, 12 years ago, they won like 3 Stanley Cups in like 6 years. So they were
remember that.
Really
they were, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was exciting because whatever. But I don't watch it. But playoff hockey is it's fun. And if you've ever get a chance to go to a game, it's electrifying because the action, the speed, very similar to basketball with the movements, and it's actually really fun to watch. in person, but I don't really follow it only because I don't. It's different, there's not superstar potential. There's some, you can't see the guys, you can't pronounce their names. They're not even from America. It's just a different kind of sport. But I'll say this, good for her. She's got a job. She's, doing some things. She wants
hire
to
me. I'll just make up some
yeah,
shit.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So hey, she's getting her bag, do your thing. I'm sure she's a very well-read, highly intelligent woman. Probably has a lot of degrees
Quick
on the back
question.
of her wall. But,
Do you think she watched one hockey game in her life?
If I was a betting man, I would say absolutely not, unless she comes from a family that owns a team or played hockey. No, I would say
there's no way, because I don't remember. I don't think I've seen clips. I don't think I've sat down and watched a whole game myself. And Hector just came in with it, and I guess we can just finish this segment real fast. Black Hispanics don't care about hockey, 110%.
Well, it's because we don't play, and we could talk about this probably for an hour straight, which we won't. But hockey is a very it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's regional in the way that you don't have hockey rinks in New York where you can just go play with your buddy. It doesn't work like that. The equipment's super expensive. You can't just play by yourself. You can go shoot hoops by yourself. You can play catch. It doesn't really. It's just different, and it's more popular in Canada and parts of Europe than it is in America. Right? It's a Canadian sport, and in places like Minnesota. There's another area where it's really popular, but not in most urban cities. So that's why you don't have a lot of black and brown people playing the sport. There's a lot of, so it's just kind of odd that are we making a problem that isn't a problem? It doesn't, I saw the clip and to see the two white guys behind it, they're like, oh, here we go. Them dudes ain't happy. Them dudes is not happy. Yeah.
They don't care. It's this is a complete waste of time.
It's weird. Hockey is, when you look at the major sports, it's even, you look at the four major sports, right? Football, basketball, baseball. Hockey's always been fourth in this country. Yeah. If anything, it's probably going to fall to fifth behind MLS soccer, as that soccer is becoming a lot more popular in this country. We're getting a team in St. Louis starting next year.
Nice.
So hockey's kind of irrelevant unless you're a diehard fan or unless you live in Canada.
They have their diehard fans. New York, the Rangers is a big deal. They will talk about the Rangers on the radio. I guess what I'm saying, like you said it perfectly. We're making this into a problem. For the most part, it's too cold. We don't like the cold. I'm talking about me. I don't like the cold. So most of us don't like the cold. So, and also access to the sport. So to play hockey, I didn't look this up, but I remember it's kind of similar to football, but people are willing to pay. It's expensive to have your kid. You got to start from the beginning. Got to start as a kid. That's how it usually works. It's very expensive to get your kid through hockey compared to other sports. I'm sure football is pretty expensive too, but people are willing to pay for it, right? Hockey's expensive. Basketball is dirt cheap, right? Baseball, you got your bat, whatever, but it's not the same where hockey is. You're cold, it's expensive, and it's just not something what the brothers want to do right now. They're not interested. Now, I would say it does look like it's fun. I would say the speed. I mean, they're going really fast on skates.
Yeah, those guys are athletes. They're athletes, man.
So not knocking the sport, but it's dominated by people with names you can't pronounce. Is it who's the guy who's still? I don't know who's the best player right now.
I'll say this: I don't know who the best. Sidney Crosby was really good for a while. Yeah. Alexander Ovechkin from the Capitals.
Yeah,
and then there's the Tampa Bay Lightning's been really good. They got a couple of brothers, I think. And then in St. Louis, we had Vladimir Tarasenko, and we've had I know some of the I can name probably more than I do. Yeah, I can name some names, but it's not like the other sport. It's just different, But I'll say this: shout out to hockey players. These guys, this is my opinion, they are the toughest sons of bitches out of all the major sports. These dudes are the toughest, and if I had to fight a hockey dude, I'm good. I'd rather take my chances versus any other kind of these guys.
They let them fight, but I heard they scale back a little bit. They're trying to get the sport to be a little bit more mainstream. So back in the day when you saw old photos of
People like the
hockey
fights,
players with
though,
their
man.
missing teeth and stuff like that, and like, oh, these are some tough dudes. So it's not necessarily saying it's a sport that's boring, or it's just cultural. It's not cold enough to really thrive compared to in Europe where it's colder there, right?
Yeah. Plus,
And
the average person doesn't play hockey. They don't go to the rec gym or go to 24-hour fitness and shoot some hoops on the weekends or toss the football around or play catch with their kid. Like we like to, at least I do, and I think a lot of people do. You like to be able to relate to a sport you're watching, right? And you're not playing hockey just in your backyard, so it's hard to have like you want to watch it as well. So I just think that's a big part of it.
yeah, Hector says the only sport that a fight can start out of nowhere.
Yeah,
because the camera just they're fighting. I'm like, oh, nice.
Unless your name's Draymond Green, then you can kind of.
Well, then you just not cold cock anyone. Practice,
kick people in the nuts, and all that stuff that he does.
But okay, so we're talking about access, right? Why soccer hasn't become the dominant sport where it's easy to play, right? It's easy to jump in, and now it's starting to have some traction. But we have all the fields, we have all the parks, we have everything. The U.S. team will still get stomped out by any other team in Europe or anywhere else in the World Cup, right? U.S. is not even a contender. Why soccer hasn't grabbed the whole? They have the equipment, they have the space. Like why you think it?
Soccer actually has been on the rise for the last 20 years in this country. Like it has its peaks, and the women's team's always been really good versus the men's team. I just think the reason it's not popular is because most young athletes, once you get to middle school and you start figuring out what sport you really want to play, the athletes aren't going to play soccer. They're playing basketball and football, and then maybe baseball. So you don't have the big names in this country, And
they should try the other sports, because I think so many want to go to NBA and NFL, but most are not going to make it there. But they could have made it to the other sports, right? Like not everyone's a Kyler Murray that could have choose what he wanted to do. He could have been a great baseball player, or
he could have been a great soccer player too. Like any of these any running back, defensive back, any point guard in the NBA, if they were playing soccer younger, they'd be like, if Russell Westbrook decided to play soccer, he would be really good at soccer if he started younger. He couldn't just go in there now, but the money's not there though either. And the relevance of looking up to, these when Russell Westbrook was young and LeBron, they're looking up to MJ and Kobe, and you don't have that same influence in soccer in America. You have it in England and Europe, and soccer is the number one sport in the world.
And they get paid over there though,
and the athletes, if you look at a top 10 list of athletes, half of those guys are going to be soccer guys. Yeah, but that's the money's coming from across the pond. It's not the Americans don't make that money. So
not yet. But yeah, I just feel like not the top, like the top athletes that are in all the sports can probably do multiple sports, but I'm talking about like the lower tier where you maybe riding the bench in an NBA, which is fantastic, but that person could have maybe been a star in other sport, or even boxing, because I feel like a lot of NFL players could have been heavyweight champions, but they wanted to play football because football is the thing. Yeah. I feel like we should have more of a stretch, but NBA is so popular. NFL is the most popular sport. It's a multi-billion-dollar business that no one wants to try to play the soccer. They want to play football. They want to play basketball. So, shout out to Hector. I'm sorry, the Knicks lost in overtime with the Grizzlies.
Get used to it.
Yeah, it's fine. Hey, listen.
Hector's having a rough week. He's having a rough week.
It is.
Mets lost, and
it's the first game of the season. We're all gonna be fine. But the one thing I wish that there was a more of a movement of more Black players going to baseball. Now, as much as I say that, I don't watch it. It's slow, but I feel like more athletes should take a part of it, because first of all, they get paid in baseball, fully guaranteed. And your brains don't get scrambled, and you don't leave the sport with all your body. You leave with all your parts intact. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a lot of strategy involved. Older Black dudes love baseball. Like that's the culture. It was just, that's what they did. You play stickball and on the streets and hanging out. And we are it's all about the again, it's all about the NBA tattoos. You know, get the dreads, the braids,
NBA,
all the
NFL.
flyness.
Yeah.
And baseball, you know, he's like, you know, it's still
It's just
your
not.
culture is a big deal, but
Oh
here,
yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, let my Brown brothers. We got baseball on lockdown. Okay, like they're going to Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Panama, Honduras, you know, Mexico, like Cuba, like that's where the MLB saw that there was, because in those countries, in the tropical countries, baseball is king. Like that, these kids ain't got nothing. They got a milk carton. They'll make a glove out of a milk carton, legit, and they roll up socks and duct tape them, and that's their baseball. And then so the MLB has invested millions and millions, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars into scouting and new facilities in these countries, and I think it's awesome. I mean,
it's a way to get them out of poverty, right? Like that's their one shot. I mean, that or most any of the sports, but especially baseball is like, if I can do this at a high level, I can get my whole family out of this situation. So I definitely think that if baseball went to other parts of the world, I don't know, other parts where they're in Africa, maybe they might even know, because I think a lot of great basketball players came out of Africa. It's mostly because of investments in there, showing them things. I think one of our football players, ex-football players from the Giants, OC, I forgot his last name.
OC Umanura or something like that.
He had a program where he went to Africa and kind of showed up, you know, because they're strong as hell over there, to like, hey, you want to play football? Like, what, you're like, what's football? You mean that like the soccer? Like, no, not that one, the other one. Yeah, you can make some money because you're a big brute. And some players are actually thriving. So I think it's definitely an investment from these leagues. But I would like baseball, but hockey, I would say if somehow there was an investment that had a really nice hockey ring in the middle of the hood, there'll be some people they'll try it. They'll get on it. They'll do like, first I learned to skate.
Yeah,
but they'll try it. I don't know if they'll be professional though.
Yeah, it's tough. Hockey's different. And like Hector just said something I was going to say. Baseball is the hardest thing to do in baseball, or in any sport. Statistically, the analytics people will tell you, is to actually be good at hitting. Okay, so like if you're playing baseball and you're a 300 average, okay, that's considered like really, really good. If you bat 300 in the MLB, you're an all-star. If you bat 300 consistently for your career, you're probably in the Hall of Fame. And 300 is being successful 30% of the time. In any other sport, if you shoot a basketball 30%, if you are a quarterback and you're 30% completion, like you're trashed. You're not even playing. You're getting exactly. Baseball's tough, man. And I think that might deter some young kids because it's a hard sport to play and see results immediately, because you got to put a lot of time and effort, and then you got to hit the batting cages. You know, basketball, if you're just naturally kind of gifted and athletic, you can get better pretty quickly as long as you have a good attitude.
Just survive, you're tall enough,
exactly,
and big enough.
Exactly. So
if your name is Kendrick Perkins, you have a full career. You're a big, tall dude that, you know, he's doing much better. He's much more entertaining as a commentator than a basketball player. And sometimes he'd be talking a lot of recklessness, like where Katie had to correct him one time. It was like, hey man, you average like 2 points. You know, like you didn't help us out when we was playing. But he's, you know, we all have our, like you said, I think the more athletically gifted you are, you can survive, right? Like, and this is a bad example, but Aaron Judge, I saw this maybe a day or two ago. This guy was balling out of his mind in multiple sports.
Every
sport he was destroying it because he's just a monster of a. He was football, basketball, like he could have done whatever he wanted, but he decided to play for the New York Yankees. And
well, he's doing okay. I think he chose the right thing.
Of
you
course,
know what I'm saying. But he could have been a tight end in football, defensive end. Could have been a power forward in basketball. Like, he probably would have made it pro in any three sports, I would think.
Yeah. And he'll, win, the championship in New York. And, I'll invite you to the parade if you want to come through. I'll pretend to care.
You don't even care about baseball, so get out of here.
Do you name 3 Yankees or like? Well, maybe.
Okay. I think you can name 3. Well, Aaron Judge.
Right, it's Derek Jeter, and then
no, not old guys. We're talking about 3 current. Can you name
Aaron
3 current
Judge?
Players? Damn, that's really
bad. Cole, pitcher, Derek Cole.
Okay.
Is it Derek?
Okay, that's 2. Yeah. One more. What's the other guy that hits all the home runs?
Carlos Stanton?
You got Gene Carlos.
Oh, there
Stanton.
you go. There you go.
got it.
'Cause I was about to name the damn coach. I was like, I'm out.
You got it.
I
You know
got
what's
nothing.
funny about him? Side story. He was Mike Stanton for the Mariners, and he changed his name to Gene Carlo like 5 years into the league.
Interesting. Got
Interesting.
tired of that
huh?
Mike
Right,
shit.
yeah.
He's like, don't
Used
call
to
me
be
Mike.
Mike
anymore.
Stanton.
Ain't nothing wrong. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You make that. Listen, we don't change our names often enough. But you know what? I never wait. Oh damn, Bobby. If you put a gun to my head, I guess you know what happens when that gun is going to go
Oh,
off.
Lord.
I didn't even know
Lord.
that.
Oh,
There's
Lord.
black people. There's black players in the Yankees.
Aaron Judge is mixed. That counts. He's black.
Yeah, he's mixed. Got you, Bobby.
Yeah.
And the black is the one that's in the ball.
I don't think I can name
You
three
mean
black
like Hispanic,
players.
dark skin
I
Hispanic
don't
dudes?
think, I don't think I. The Yankees got a little NHL going on over there. We'll say.
Yeah,
that.
unbelievable. You know what? Let me write a letter to the Yankees so we can lose games. Hire. It's like it's weird. So like, okay, so if the NFL did a study and in the majority of the, well, you know what? All right, I'll give her one caveat. She wasn't necessarily talking about only the player. She was saying the whole organization.
Yes,
But at the
She said
same time,
67%. What 67% was what number? What was she
Right.
referencing?
of
Okay.
people in the organization.
Of the 40 something 4,700 or 4,200 was it
Yeah,
something like that?
Yeah.
So honestly, that's way more diverse than I would have expected.
Yeah, because even if and maybe I'm just looking for a job to get a job, but if I'm
Yeah.
going into sports, I'm going to probably go to a sport that I'm familiar with that would love
Yeah.
to work for. Like I would love to find a job. Like, I know we both are not necessarily into the whole W-2 thing, but if I was able to find a really cool job at the Giants or the Knicks, I'm like,
Oh,
maybe I'd be
yeah. I
considering
mean,
it, right? Like
You have to.
I wouldn't.
yeah.
I wouldn't apply for a job for the Rangers. Like, I'll just be it'll be a job.
If
It'll
it
be just a
paid,
job.
I mean, I think it depends on the money, right? If the Rangers came like Hannibal, we want you to be the VP of editing for our social media, and we're going to pay you $250,000 a year. You better, you better take that
I'm
damn
gonna
job.
take it.
Yeah,
It just,
that's what I'm
learn the
saying.
job. Yeah, I have to learn because that's the thing. Like you said, social media. Social media of basketball, right? You know what makes sense, what works. I don't know what. I'm like, okay, yeah, some good highlights.
I think you could figure it. You could figure it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably. Fair
yeah,
enough.
you figure it out. You put a big booty girl in some skates
They don't
and
like-
some lingerie, and you're good to go. 10 million views.
All right, if the lingerie league, the football lingerie
Yeah.
league, hired me for social media, I'm a shoo-in.
You'd be
I got
done.
you, bro.
You'd
I got you.
You'd be done.
I'll do it for free. You know what? Don't pay me.
You ever seen those women? Like,
Some
it's
they be
it's
hitting each other
crazy.
too. Yeah, they don't play
they're-
around.
It's like
Oh yeah.
it's crazy.
It's an Instagram. It's an Instagram. Well, it's a league of stripper basketball players. I didn't send it to you because I know you don't run your own Instagram, so I didn't want to just send that over.
No, my girl would have been fine with it. You can send it. Go ahead.
Okay, you know what? We'll talk about. We'll talk about it in the next show. I'll
Yeah.
put some clips on. It's a basketball league,
With
but it's
strippers.
also strippers.
And they're dressed,
dressed
like
like-
in lingerie or something.
Yeah,
Good Lord, what's the
and they're
world
playing
coming to?
basketball.
And they're playing
Yeah.
basketball. They're jumping around. Oh my God.
Yes, some
You
are
can send
very.
it. My girl probably like that. You can send it.
Okay, I'll talk to her about you.
We'll
about
be
that.
back.
But what happened if you were the social media manager for the Denver Broncos? Like, what would you do considering how weird Russell Wilson is? So
This
I
man.
think it was a podcast with Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch, and they were
Mhm.
talking about Russell Wilson's struggles.
Shout out to
Man.
Marshawn. I love Marshawn Lynch.
yeah,
by
he's
the
a
way.
man, yeah.
He
And the
he is a national treasure in my book.
Yeah.
I love him.
Oh yeah, definitely, totally agree. And it's interesting. Marshall wanted to reach out to Russell. He's like, man, I would like to talk to him. But there's a problem with that, and I'll show you right now. 17-second clip, real fast.
right now because he on a struggle bus.
Man, I want to reach out to dog, bro, because
They'll
I
reach
mean,
out to it.
you know it
his
ain't
manager.
that. You know it ain't. Man, come
His
on, nigga. If
manager.
if I can't call you direct, nigga, then I ain't calling you. Especially, nigga, if I done went to war with you.
So that's real quick.
I love Marshawn Lynch too. I love Marshawn.
So he lived, and these are two ex-players, like ex-teammates of his. They can't contact him directly. They have to go through the manager. And the way Richard said it, it sounded like it happened while they were playing with each other. Like it sounds like this is a common thing. This is a common thing. When they played back in Seattle, you couldn't call your quarterback.
Oh, that's not how I read it. That they're maybe try to contact him afterwards because they've both been separated from Seattle for a little while now. But you could be right. But either way, like your ex teammate should have a direct line to you.
Yeah, the way Richard kind of said it, it sounds like this is a common thing. Like you got to talk to his manager. You know, his man. It sounds like I would do that too.
But you know, when Russell Wilson came into the league, those two guys were there on that team. Russell Wilson was not that guy the first year or two. He wasn't. He was. But so at some point, when did it turn to where you had a manager that you got to go through his manager? Like,
maybe when he started like balling out a little bit. I don't know. So the reason why I brought this up, he's not playing well, and it's kind of showing why things may not have worked out in Seattle, where I think he thought, I don't need any of you people. I'm the man. And now it looks like Pete Carroll, he's looking more like a genius. The more Russell just looks off.
Geno Smith has had better stats than Russell Wilson to this point.
Do you think Russell Wilson just lost it, or the system in Seattle is the reason why he was successful?
I think the system kind of helped, but they threw the ball around a lot towards the end of his career. I think he's struggling now with the Broncos because he's gotten a little comfortable. He thinks he's already made it into the Hall of Fame, and he feels good. He's got his money. He's got Sierra. I also think he's not. I said this before. Russell Wilson is not that guy that's going to look at a coach and say, "Nah, I got this." He's just going to be like the good little soldier and be like, okay. Yeah. He's a yes man. He's not a guy that likes probably confrontation. He's not going to question authority. You're the coach, fine. And he's a rookie coach. I think that coach is really bad. He's learning on the job, I guess. Yeah, and Russell Wilson is I hate to just like down a guy so much, but he's always just been goofy and just weird. Yeah. And I feel like the guys around him don't really like him a lot. You see his interaction with his teammates, and like I know DK Metcalf was really close to him in Seattle. But like you don't see a lot of ex people talking about him well. He's just doing things really weird in the sidelines. It doesn't come off as genuine. It's been a bad.
Before this, he was the guy. Like he was always maybe in the top 5 of an MVP. Like it was Russell Wilson at one point doing a lot of like keeping the team float, because the defense, after the second chance to win a Super Bowl, defense kind of went down because a lot of the Legion of Boom started to get a little older and out of it. And it was Russell Wilson keeping the team afloat. So just weird, and I see a lot of good comments in here. Yeah, the Broncos did give him a lot of money, and
draft picks and all kinds of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. Yeah.
And Daniel Jones, Hector says Daniel Jones has better stats than Wilson. Shout out to Daniel Jones real quick. I mean, LeBron, like Lamar, who you got? Danny Dimes is just, he got a 5-1 record. What does?
Are you saying he's better than Lamar
Jackson? I didn't say that.
Okay, I just want to. I wanted to make sure I didn't need to take my headphones off and like.
Well, hey, listen. Is one quarterback has a better record right now? That's all I know. Okay. I only stay with the facts.
Okay,
it's hot facts.
No.
That's a retire. Like we'll never use that phrase ever again.
Never. That was good though. That was good.
It was good. Is he just too, like Bobby, like celebrity marriage did it? Is he just too soft? I mean, she's soft. If I had that, would you care about anything else?
She looks good. She looks good though, man. Wow. Yeah. I don't know. That's why it's hard to hate on, because he's got such a great life. He's got but he's not playing really good. And the issue is, it's not that he's not playing good. That's the main thing. But it's also that he's just goofy as fuck. Like he's weird. He's goofy. It looks like he cares about other stuff more than it's just, I don't know. It's just weird, man.
Yeah, it's not looking good. He is missing throws. He's missing receivers open. But then sometimes he is throwing them and they're not catching it. I've seen a few of those. Yeah. But the defense is just being wasted. defense is trying to hold its own, and they just not getting the offense to jump in and help out. They're terrible at the when they get to the goal line, they can't score.
So the red zone is the worst. Well, the game that they should have won, which was not this week, but I think it was like last Thursday when they played Thursday Night Football. He had a guy wide open the last play of the game.
Yeah,
he made a great move. I think it's Hamlin or he made a phenomenal inside route move. And Russell Wilson just did not throw the ball, and he's holding it, and then he throws it to a guy that wasn't even open. So that's a basic actually route. Like he should have made that pass, and it should have won the game. So if he does that pass, we're talking about it differently. That might have given him some momentum, game-winning drive, last play of the game. This week, might have that win that they didn't have could have propelled them in a different direction. But I think he's lost some of those receivers, man. They don't. I think he's lost some of that team a little bit.
A little bit. And it's still early in the season, but I think it's like a mix of everything. Got Russell Wilson just not sharp. He seems to be not confident or confused. It's also a head coach that is not a good head coach, and this is, and I don't want to go bring up the whole race thing at all. This is the last thing, but all right, Nathaniel Hackett, how did he get a job? Like, I mean, the guy can't. He doesn't understand. He's telling his kicker to kick a 75-yard field goal. It wasn't 75 yards, but like some of the decisions are not being like. How did he get a job? Like, what happened here?
Weird. It's
know
weird.
what I mean? Like, it's. I won't say it's race. It's all about who you know, and that's how business. That's how it works. You get jobs by who you know. Hey, if I know someone, they're gonna give me the hookup. It's natural. It's not race. But I'm just wondering, like, that's. So Nathaniel Hackett was the best candidate for the job, really?
Yeah.
Like, all right.
I think John Elway's not feeling great right now. He's the president of, and he's ever since Manning left, they haven't done anything. They've gone through a lot of quarterbacks.
Connections. Yeah, no Dasher. I hear that.
Yeah.
You know what, Elway, get underneath the center, because I don't know about Russell. Just you play. You probably get some. You get a few. I bet you Elway would have missed that damn pass.
I bet if Elway played right now, his stats would be pretty similar. And that's sad because Elway's like 60 something. But I bet they'd be.
Elway was the man. I remember a little bit.
Rocket for an arm. Dude.
Oh yeah, dude was he was baller. I do remember some John Elway. So they're gonna play the New York Jets. Who's
the
gonna
Jets
win?
Are hot right now.
Yeah, that's a surprise, dude. That's
a surprise team.
Who you think gonna win that? You got to put some money on it.
Broncos and the Jets.
I think they're playing at Denver. I think
they're playing at Denver.
Yeah, Empowered Field.
Oh man, that's a coin flip. I couldn't even tell you. I think right now the Jets have a lot of momentum. They got a really good defense. But so I can see the Jets winning. If I was a betting man, I'd probably lay my bet on the Broncos because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the odds on that one.
I would say the Broncos are probably going to be favored by 2.5 would be my guess. I could be wrong, but that's the home field. You get like 3 points for home field, so that would be my guess, but I could be wrong.
All right, let me look at it real quick. I think 1.5 favorite.
1.5. The Broncos are.
Yeah.
So I said 2. Yeah. So I'm not.
Yeah, that's a good bet. I'll go with.
That's a good bet for the Jets.
Yeah, I'll go with the Jets. Yeah, I think so. All right. So Nova Dasher is here. So another disliked quarterback. Yeah, Carson Wentz. So it's like he has a Carson Wentz effect. And listen, Nova, he knows how terrible his quarterback is. There's something about Carson Wentz that people don't like. He's been on multiple teams, and they all hate him. They all hated him. At one point, he was an MVP candidate. Like at one point, he was
the year that they won the Super Bowl, and then he got hurt. Yeah,
he got hurt, and then Nick Foles came and saved the day. But it has to be a personality thing, and I think with Russell Wilson's problem is when you think you're better than everyone else, and you gotta talk to my manager, talk to me, and you may be trying to protect your mental health. You may be trying to make sure that there's a certain level of space. It doesn't work well in a team sport, where especially football, where you guys like that's what Marshall Lynch said. If I can't call you directly, and I went with war with you, and I can't contact you directly, I'm not gonna talk to you. Like I'm not gonna go my way to. He said he want to talk to him. I see like, hey, what's going on? Like what's maybe something he can talk to him about. You can't even reach to him. And I think that's the problem with Russell Wilson. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, right now he needs a Marshawn and Richard Sherman to maybe tell him how it is and give him a little tough love. That might help him a little bit. But if Marshawn ain't gonna go through somebody's manager, like, oh, can I speak to nah, Marshawn's over there drinking hen dog and making commercials for Uber Eats. Like Marshawn Lynch is living the life.
Saving his money.
Yeah,
like he saved all his chicken. I'm like, yeah, that's because that's not what most of them do. I mean, it's extremely difficult to save your money because the money's coming in and people. You saw the NBA players how they come in through with their clothes with the jewelry that no one's gonna buy, so they just have that sitting there depreciating because no one wants custom jewelry of your name etched with diamonds, like that. It's just a lot of that going on. So I appreciate it. And then that Nova Dasher, let's ride. So
I saw there was a basketball player that did that as a mock. I can't remember what team. I saw it last night watching the games or on social media or something. And Russell Wilson has turned into a walking meme or a GIF, whatever you want to call it at this point. And he's so talented, and clearly he's a great man. Like clearly he's a father.
He's a really nice guy, and you don't hear any negative stories about him. It's just a little cringy. And are we being a little bit too like the season is still kind of just started. Yeah, there's a few games in, but
we're a third of the way. We're a third of the way. We're a third of the way through the NFL season. So
I feel you.
But,
do you think we're just we're quick to like, yeah, this guy's trash? And at one point he was, and his last year in Seattle, I think someone put in, wasn't great either.
Yeah.
So this could be it. I mean, eventually, you 1 minute you're really good, and the next minute you're the last one to know when you're not good either.
You are, but with NFL, the contracts aren't fully guaranteed. But I think he's guarantees like 160 million out of that 240 or whatever it was. So at the end of the day, like this year, it is what it is. Next year, if they don't make the playoffs, which is going to be hard for them to, but it's still possible. And then next year they don't make the playoffs and he plays bad 2 years in a row, he's gone. He's gone. Like they'll just swallow the rest of that 80 million or whatever, and that'll be it.
A lot of money.
It is, but you can't do 4 years or 5 years and be trash for all. We're only 6 games in, but he ain't looking. I mean, at this point, you're a third of the way through the NFL season. You kind of start to know who your team is, and you got about 2 more weeks, and then you're really gonna know. You get to November, it's like, okay, and he's just not. I don't know.
I guess the reason why I brought it up is it just came to me, but I was watching this earlier today on Skip and Bayless show or whatever. They were talking about KD, and they were talking about Russell Westbrook, and KD was I forgot, maybe on a podcast he was being interviewed, and he was saying at this point the Russell Westbrook stuff is becoming like a butt of a joke. It was like, well, yeah, you can criticize someone's play, but now it just seems like you're just joking on them and making a lot of jokes, and shit's not cool. And then after they played that video, Shannon was like, I disagree. He needs to play better. You want them to stop making jokes? You gotta just play better. We're not, that's why you didn't want to play with him. That's why Harden didn't want to play with him. That's why, Paul George didn't want to play with him. And in my opinion, I think they missed the point. You can criticize the man's play, but if you're doing cartoon music of everything he's doing wrong, that is what KD was talking about. Not necessarily the criticism of the play, is you're making him a butt of the jokes. You're mocking him. Yeah. And I don't know, but you give me because I know you're more of a Russell Westbrook fan, but what do you think about the difference that I think KD was trying to say, but I feel like Skip and Shannon did not understand?
I just think Russell Westbrook is I think we have to remember one thing. He was really good for about 3 years in a row with the OKC after Durant left. I mean, triple-double average for the entire season, back-to-back seasons. Won an MVP and not a very good team. He was really good. High energy, plays, never takes a play off. Like Russell Westbrook is that guy. Like I'm a big fan of his. but he has not been playing as good. But he set the bar really high.
Yeah.
And the teams that he went on after OKC had other guys that were alpha males. When he was performing at his highest at OKC, he was the guy. He didn't have anybody else, right? Because Harden left, KD left, he was the dude. He had Steven Adams. That was pretty much it. And he went to teams with like Chris Paul, James Harden, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Bradley Beal. He wasn't the number one guy. So when you go from, it's really difficult playing basketball, okay? When you're the main guy that has the ball all the time, the offense is facilitated by you pretty much 90% of the time when you're on the floor. And you go to a team and it's not that way anymore. It's facilitated 70%. It's a big drop off. And I think he's lost his way in these new teams. His stats are still not bad. It's just that you couple that with not having a great jump shot. And the second he misses a shot, people just, rest brick or whatever. The media gets on him.
Yeah, the misses don't look good. Like
the misses don't
look
look
good. A good miss is like, damn, that looked really.
And he's going to Europe wearing dresses. That doesn't help him because some people look at that like you're being weird, man. So, but he's a Hall of Famer in my book. I hope he has a good season.
He's definitely he's a Hall of Famer without a doubt.
100%.
I think that I understand. Like I understand the criticism and even some of the jokes because it seems like he's like the last one to know. Just like every other like great athlete, they're the last one to know. Like you don't have it the way you used to have it, or you may have to come off the bench. And he doesn't understand that, and it's not clicking with his head. And I think what you're saying is difficult from being the number one option to being the second or third. It messes up your rhythm. It messes up a lot of how you play basketball, and also that reckless abandonment, kind of running in straight into the, like a lot of that he just seems a little bit off sometimes. And now he's playing on a team that I think he realizes the higher ups and some of his players don't want him there, but he's going to collect that $40 million. So that just becomes a really awkward situation, kind of like a Draymond situation. But at least Draymond still has some value because then he's not expected to shoot, and he still tried to shoot yesterday. It was so ugly. He has ugly. Him and I don't know where they learned to shoot, but
it's weird.
Yeah. And Hector said that he wasn't ever a consistent shooter, but he's not. He's worse now than before. Yeah. But I think the idea of the joking about it. The way the media is structured now, and this is not just sports, but in politics as well, that we can just say some outlandish stuff that you would not say to the person's face, but you could say that out loud. And then when the athlete gets upset about it, you call them sensitive, or you're like, we're just reporting the thing. We're just reporting. And then any criticism about the media, they get sensitive about it and they get defensive. It's like, okay, let's just all figure this out. Like, Stephen A. made a whole career. I mean, he's the highest paid person on ESPN. He built his career on mocking people.
Yeah.
Right? Like he built his career on making fun of Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown.
Yeah. Right? Like, I mean, the guy worked, he did. Yeah. Yes. He was number one. You can consider him a bust. But he was in the league more than 10 years.
He's still the NBA champion. I think he won a ring with the Lakers. I mean, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
Yeah. It just a little. I just felt like that. It gets to a point where like, okay, we get it. Some games he looks really bad. You point it out, but for the entertainment value, for the like I said, the clicks and views, you're going to go extreme. You're going to say some stuff that it's like. Would you say that to his face if you saw him? Probably
no,
not.
but that's how the news anchors, the sports people, the media, social media, internet. It's easy to be a tough guy behind a keyboard, but none of these athletes will smash all these people. Now, would Shannon Sharp say it to Russell Westbrook? Probably. Shannon Sharp's a grown ass man.
Well, but even then, the locker he wouldn't disrespect it. Like
not the same.
He may not worry about fighting, but even Shannon would not say that to him like that.
Yeah,
he'll say, I wish you could play better. I'm sure he'll say that because he probably said that to bigger men, and when you play NFL. But you wouldn't clown him though, because you would not want someone to do that to your face. You know what I mean? So I think, but that's just how it's going to be. And Hector says Sean Marion had the ugliest jump shot. It shot like
his percentage was he could actually make some of his jump shots from when he was on the Phoenix Suns, like when Steve Nash was He was hitting 3
No,
pointers.
he was
It
hitting.
was
He was
ugly,
good with
but
that
it
corner
was
three
going
too.
in. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
absolutely
Matrix.
the corner
The
3.
dude could play. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one team I could think of that should have won a championship was the Phoenix Suns. If I think of all the teams of all the times I've watched, that's the
Yeah.
one team I still don't understand. Like I've seen, I
Yeah,
remember
but
that
they
one
had
time
Kobe and Tim Duncan in their way. So the
they
Spurs
had
and the
some good, they
Lakers
had
were
some good
winning.
battles with Spurs.
Yeah.
And I
Spurs
know
were
there was
good.
one problem where I think one bumped into like it was a playoff series. I forgot who bumped into who. Some guys stepped off the court. You know, once you're on the bench, you step on the court, you get suspended, and that kind of changed. I forgot what series that was. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
can't remember. I have to look it up. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, Phoenix Suns should have won a championship. So before we end this, I want actually Pedro, you share this to me.
Yeah, let's watch it and then we can discuss it as get your guys' opinion in the comments. Let us know. Hannibal's going to put a little clip up. I think we have a lot of. I know Nova's a father. I don't know if there's any dad. If you're a dad, if you have children at home or if they're grown, let us know in the comments. Give us a little like thumbs up if you're a father, and let's watch a clip he's going to throw up.
Yeah, we're gonna about a minute and 15 seconds. Let's put it up right now.
If my father only knew that the last thing I needed from him was money, the last thing that was going to impress me about him was a car. The last thing I was going to think about was, yo, did you see Dad's house?
Yeah.
I was never going to think of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I remember about my dad? I remember my dad used to get paid on Friday nights and he used to take us to go get some pizza. I remember that. And those are the best times of my life.
Yeah.
I remember my dad waking us up early on a Saturday morning and taking us to go to the barber shop to get a haircut.
I remember
those are the best times of my life.
Yeah.
I remember Sunday mornings, my dad making oatmeal, no one knowing what he put in it. And just being like, yo, this is amazing. Yeah. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And guess what? Yeah. Now that I'm a father, every Friday, I get paid a lot, but I get paid for everywhere, different places. But every Friday, pizza
for the kid.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, son, we going to the barbershop. I take my son to the barbershop, get him his haircut.
Wow.
I'm making oatmeal and putting stuff in, putting nutmeg, cinnamon, browns. They don't know what's in this thing.
Yeah.
That's a legacy.
Absolutely.
That's been passed down.
You kind of, I think about my dad and it's always the small moments that are the most important. The small moments, the moments of like the best memories of my father. He's still around, obviously, but watching boxing, he got me into boxing, like because it was one of the few sports he liked. He didn't watch. He said he grew up watching football and basketball, but he didn't really. He cared about boxing, and when you watched, he got excited when he saw a good combination. And he wasn't necessarily always the most excitable guy. So when you saw him excited watching boxing, it make you feel better because you feel good. He's like, wow, this is actually interesting. So those small moments at the time, he probably didn't think that was a big deal, right? And even some of the things I do with my son, I don't think it's a big deal. But that's important to put that time in there of the small things because that's what they're going to remember. Hanging out where you did put time and you paying attention to them, or you did something silly to make them feel better, or when they were sick, you did something to help them out. Like those moments are really, really important. And it just feels like, it's hopefully more men are doing that. I'll just say hopefully more men are doing that.
Yeah, no, for real, man. I saw that today and it just reminded me memories, like as a kid, you talking about your father. My dad used to make pancakes and, certain songs and things we'd listen to in the car and conversations, like little, just, coach my baseball team when I was young. Like it just reminded me like kids don't give a damn about how much you make.
No,
they want your time. They want you to be around for them when it matters. And I've always thought moments are important in life. What do you remember? Right? You're going to remember bad stuff, but you also will remember good stuff. And being a father, it's not always easy because you're always wanting, a lot of us are trying to be providers. So we're working a lot. We're hustling. We want to give our kids something. We want to provide. We want to make sure they got the new shoes. They got the things they want. They got the new phone. That shit don't matter to these kids. Even if they tell you it matters, it don't matter. They want to make sure you're at their games.
Yeah.
at the music recitals. You know, you're picking them up from school and you're on time. You know, and it's just wild, man. Like kids don't care about that. Like,
Yeah, and like you said, they may think in their mind at the time that is important for the material
mhm,
stuff, but when they get older, and they will look back, they realize no, those because we don't cherish those times in the moment. We should try to, right? As people, like we should, when you realize you have a good time, really cherish it because it may be you may not ever be in this way
yeah,
again, right? Like they'll say, they will be the last. They'll be the last time you'll pick up your kid like physically, like pick them up and hold them. It will be
yeah,
the last time because eventually it get to a point where like I'm not picking your ass up, you're too big. But there'll be a moment that's the last time. So it's like those things are very important. And you know, we talk about hip hop in this channel at times. My favorite that's the songs that my father played at he will play this song 500 million times. These are the songs he'll play. Coolio, rest in peace, Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. He'll play that
mm.
10 million times. Old Dirty Bastard, Shimmy Shimmy Y'all, and
Shimmy,
Brooklyn
shimmy,
Zoo.
y'all, shimmy, yeah,
He'll
shimmy, yeah.
play those three 500 million times. And what's another really good song? Black Rob's Whoa.
Oh, that's a banger,
Yeah.
man.
So
Oh,
basically
I love
every
that song.
very like the anthems, he would with those like,
Yeah.
and then when he was really, really, really feeling like he was in his bag, he
Mhm.
played that Been Around the World and I not the remix but Puff Daddy. The
Oh, but
one
the
with the chick.
original.
The original.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you know, he's a very tough guy. So you would never like look at him like, why are you listening? He's like, yeah, that's good. Like,
I'm
why
gonna
you
have to listen to that original again. I'm gonna have
never
to listen to
oh
that.
yeah. It's I
Yeah,
mean, the sample from Puff Daddy was nice, but no, the original is the best. It is the
yeah,
best. I
yeah.
mean, I forgot her name. But it was a really good song. It's like also him bringing me into hip hop. Like he was
Mm,
really into rap and hip hop, and I think that's where I got my love
that's
from because he
awesome,
would
man.
play on the
That's awesome.
radio, you know, Hot
Yeah,
97, you know, fuck Master Flex. I know he's annoying now, but
yeah.
you know, so those foundations of things that you like are based on, you know, hanging out with your dad, like certain
Mm,
foods that you like to eat. You know, well, I love steak because he likes steak, you know, like those
mhm,
type of things that you kind of bring the snacks you used to eat. So it's really
mhm,
important to take time. Yes, you need to work, and now we're working more jobs. Now
mhm,
you got the full-time job with the side hustle. You know, a lot of people are
mhm.
doing the gig work as well. And it's like you're not home, they notice that. When you
Yeah,
out every holiday because you know the money is there during the holiday, they're gonna notice that. They
mhm.
may not they're not be able to articulate that, but they will notice it. And
Yeah,
it can affect them in a negative way if you're just not there often enough. Because sometimes they may need to talk to you about something important. But
yeah,
if you're not there, how are they gonna talk to you? You know?
yeah. You might miss that moment, right?
Yeah.
And just to come home and ask them how their day was and what was the best part of your day. You know, what was the rough part of your day? Like those simple kind of questions and conversations. And as your kids get older, they'll stop at points wanting to answer. That's a good question, by the way. Let's get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Good question, Hector. But you have to still just keep answering them. It's what I've learned as a dad. I have a daughter that's 21. You know, there's a time where she was like, she didn't want to talk to me. She want nothing to do with me. She's, you know, they get older, they start to
Yeah.
fade, like, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to try to still be consistent. It's hard, you know. And I think to answer your question, you know, for all y'all know what is the hardest part of being a father is, for me at least, it's knowing what is that balance, like I mentioned earlier, of trying to be a provider, but then also being like present, right? Because if you're hustling and you're really working a W-2 and then you got a side job or you're trying to build a business or whatever it is that you're doing, you're working 60 hours a week,
Yeah.
50, 70, whatever that number is for you. You got to work a lot of holidays depending on the industry that you're in. If you are off on weekends, but maybe Saturday's your golf day, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to do something for yourself. But then, you know, it's having for me, the balance of being a provider and being able to my kids have what they needed. But then, okay, well, how do I save and make sure the future's secure? But then being like present was always a struggle. It still is a struggle for me. I've gotten better, but it's still something that I question myself. You know, you have this like guilt of like, am I doing enough? Am I present enough? You know, am I giving my daughters enough time? And it's a hard thing, you know.
Yeah. I like Bobby's answer. Like, you never want to see them unhappy. but you can't control it always. Yeah, you can't always control it. I think a lot of that is I guess it's because I don't necessarily have necessarily it's not necessarily hard to raise him because I think my son is actually a good person. If he wasn't a good person, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta deal with this. But he's a good person. So now I'm worried about everything else around him. His
so he doesn't become
environment.
bad. So it doesn't.
I literally had this conversation yesterday talking to my chick about what kind of woman he's gonna talk to. Oh, these women out here, I don't know, man, because these women out here, and he's gonna look at a woman that's she be good looking, but she's gonna be crazy. And I'm thinking I've already have to give him that speech. Like, listen, if a woman puts her hands on you, anytime it's you have to leave. Like, I'm already prepping him because I don't want him to have a kind of relationship with a woman where he is struggling, where if they had kids and now there's a custody battle, he has to worry about, paying money and this and that. Cause I've seen a few of those stories and they sound terrible. Like, so that's what I'm worried about. Like the kind of world that he is growing up to become a man in, that concerns me. And I feel with what Bobby's saying, I don't know how to control that. I can't nerf everything around him. So he's going to have to take his falls. He's going to have to take his L's because that's how you learn. But that's difficult to let him do that, right? Especially how you see society is turning and doing some weird, odd things that it's like, damn, like how do you know? The most you can do is just you talk to them, you lead by example, that kind of thing. But that's my kind of like my struggle is like, man, I see some things going on and I want him to have a good relationship with a woman and whatever, but good relationships where he is not struggling, going back and forth, dealing with the drama that I see so many people having arguments outside in the street, middle of the night, screaming at each other. And like, they're going through it. Like, I hope.
But it's your kid's they're gonna struggle. And I think as a parent, and you have a son, I don't have a son. So I think it is different too when you're raising a man, a boy, a young man, you're raising a girl into a woman. It's very different. So I can't, I can only imagine it's different. Because if I had a son, I'd look at things different and how I would move, and the conversations would be very different. And some might not agree with that, but it would be different. What I would worry about would be different. What I would try to instill in them might be different. Good people are good people, but men and women are different. And society looks at us different. And for me, it's like I always think like it's okay to not be okay. And I think sometimes kids just need to know you're there. As simple as that sounds, it's like if they're having a bad day with their girlfriend or they choose the wrong woman, or if my daughter's, having a rough day at school or this or that, you just have to sit with them in that and be empathetic with them and tell them it's okay to feel like this. It's okay to be mad. It's okay that you didn't do good. And then just say nothing else. Like, just let them know it's okay. Yeah. They're not different for that. They shouldn't be ashamed of that they made a mistake, or, you know what I'm saying? I think kids just want they want to know that they can trust that you will unconditionally love them and give them, and not always feel like we have to, as fathers, give them advice and overanalyze too much, we just have to just be there.
And that's something that you have to deal with that probably more than I do, because you're raising daughters and you learn that later in life as men, that a lot of times when a woman is trying to talk to you, they're not looking for the answer. They just want you to listen. So I definitely took a while to figure that out, but also, at least for my son and dealing with boys, and the podcast episode we did about how some of the boys are getting left behind in terms of grade school, and how some families look at the boys as, well, hopefully he'll figure it out. But our daughters, they're gonna go to college, they're gonna get the advanced degrees because just the school system is just a little bit constructed where they're thriving, and that's great, right? But the boys are like, still running around, falling off the chairs, and like, oh, you know what? He'll figure it out, or he'll get a trade school or something like that.
Falling off of chairs is very specific.
Oh well, that was me in kindergarten. That was one thing they were like, he kept falling off the chair. I found it funny. I found it interesting that I still hold him accountable for his actions. So that's another really big thing that I stress with my son is, when you mess up, you must take accountability for it. Don't point fingers and why it didn't work out. And I want him to do that to feel comfortable about taking accountability, because I feel like a lot of young men they'll blame everybody when something goes wrong before they blame themselves. Like no, this is your fault.
It's our pride because we're more prideful most of the time. I think.
So I
What do
think,
you think? You know,
yeah, you want to take accountability for your actions, self-own. It's at least when I've started to really put that in my life, it's easier to move forward. It's like I have control of this, and sometimes it's things that don't have control, right? But he's like, okay, I got this. You know, yeah, I made a mistake. Yeah, I've depended on a person, but at the same time, it's my responsibility because I chose to do that. And I think once you realize that, you learn from your lessons rather than, because you can talk to anyone that went to jail, right? They'll give you 5,000 reasons why they're in jail.
Oh yeah.
And they may not even the first one.
But first thing they're going to say is, "Well, I didn't do it." They're all innocent, but then they're going to give you reasons as to why.
Yeah,
you're right.
I was in a bad neighborhood. I wasn't raised right, and all that stuff. And it's like the first thing you have to do, just like any kind of addiction or something that you're dealing with, this is my fault. I put myself in this position. Okay, so that helps because now it's like, okay, how do I get out of it? I've already admitted that, hey, this is my mistake. Now let's step forward and figure it out. So that's another really big lesson that I'm trying to get him to learn. And he understands that. And he's, like I said, raising someone you like is good. Because if you raise someone you don't like,
I think it makes it as weird as it might sound, because kids are kids, like, and I think, you could have 4 kids and like, let's not kid ourselves. You got out of those 4, one of them is going to be your favorite, just a little bit for different reasons, you know, and it could change, as life goes, because things change, people change, a little bit, interests change. But like when you're spending time with your child and you actually enjoy their presence and they're not a complete knucklehead or rude or they're a good person, it makes it a lot better, more enjoyable for sure.
Yeah, because they're gonna have mistakes, they're gonna have their ups and downs, but they're a good person internally, so like you're good to go. So,
well, I think a big difference is you and your girl are together. You've been together, so you have a family dynamic. You guys are under the same roof, and I think your son sees that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that with my first born, Gabby. Me and her mom didn't. We lived together for like 6 months when she was a baby, so she didn't remember it. But me and my girl now, we're family dynamic. So my daughter's 15 months and she's seeing that, and there's a routine, and that goes into the makeup of a young child as they're being born, as they're being raised. So shout out to you for that. A lot of you say he's a good kid. Well, that has to do with you and your wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My parents divorced when I was 12, so I think that's a learning lesson that I saw, and they did not want. They should not have been together. Like it's not like they'll stay together. Nah, y'all niggas.
No, my parents. I was. I think I was 11 when my parents got divorced, and they needed.
Like y'all not getting along. But I did look at that. And I was like, well, if I get that opportunity, I'm gonna really make sure it's a good fit, because you want to have some kids are like, my parents have been together for 30 years. I'm like, you son of a, that's great, because that's the kind of thing that we all would want. Like our parents would be good, but listen, if you guys not getting along, just separate. Like, don't try to make it work if it's not going to work, because the kids don't want to hear the argument, stuff like that. So
I think you got to try. You got to, is it therapy?
Yeah, try, but
but like at some point, it's like, okay, this is a detriment to what we got going on here.
Yeah. But I appreciate you sending that message. It's interesting. We have some more stuff. We'll talk about this. All right, so I know next weekend we're kind of busy, so I don't know if we'll figure out maybe a Monday, or just we'll do next Wednesday, because I know we got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. But there's a few articles. It's kind of related to kids and wealth that I want to talk to you about. I find it really fascinating. But appreciate you guys for coming through and hanging out with us. Everyone that came in, watch, talking about how the Nets and the Knicks lost today, which is fine.
Yankees lost. Looks like the Yankees lost. Yeah,
they're down 1, or they're gonna lose. Come on, I really want to go to. I really want to go to that damn parade.
The game's over. I think I don't know if the game's over, but I'm assuming.
4-2 win over Yankees. Verlander did his thing. He's a pitcher, right?
Yes, Verlander's had a really good year, so it's gonna. I'm not surprised.
You know what? We should do a baseball stream so I can just like really destroy by not knowing anything.
Yeah, you might. If you don't like baseball, those streams can be like those. Baseball's tough, man.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take a fall. Yeah, I'm gonna fall asleep. Never mind. Never mind.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. We got the playoffs and coming. We should do a World Series. I say we we do the game 1 of the World Series. That could be fun.
If the Yankees are in it, if there's two teams that we don't give a shit about, like, I mean, we'll still do it. I don't mind, but it would be nice if the Yankees.
Well, you don't know that you only know a couple of Yankees anyway. So what's the difference if it's them?
One thing I know is that the Astros keep beating the Yankees' asses, and just it seems the Yankees can get past them. So I know that listening to some of the sports radios, and they already lost the first game. So yeah, it probably is not good. It's going to be Astros versus whatever. That's
it's one game. It's fine. Houston, I think, got home field advantage, so they won the first game. As long as the Yankees don't fall down 2-0, they could be fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, cool. Before we leave, Bobby wants me to name a black pitcher.
Let's see. I'll name you. Is Luis Severino? Well, I think he's black, but he's like Spanish, Dominican. But Dominicans are black.
There's black pitchers.
There are. I'll name one right now from back in the day. Dwight Gooden played for the Yankees back in the 80s. There you go, Bobby.
No, good. He played for NBA.
CC Sabathia. CC Sabathia is black. He played for the Yankees too.
Oh yeah.
I gave you 2 right there. There you go. I helped you out, Hannibal.
Yeah, Bobby, I got nothing. I'm sorry. The Mets have one. He said.
The Mets have one. The Mets have. I'll tell you. Marcus Stroman. Is he still on the Nets?
I thought Stroman was white.
Marcus Stroman was a black man.
Listen, you guys are not listening for our
guys. Hannibal
analysis.
knows nothing about baseball. He just knows Derek Jeter. And the only reason he knows Derek Jeter is because he had a lot of beautiful women with big booties.
Derek Jeter is the greatest baseball player who ever played. He had Mariah Carey. He had how many other he had supermodels. Look at his record on that one. He's flawless. He's not drop one. Undefeated.
Undefeated. No kids. Undefeated. Yeah.
No kids. Even though we talk about the love of our children. No kids.
Kids.
Oh yeah. Page. Yep. Pedro.
Oh, he was. Maybe that's why Stroman. He was with the Cubs.
You know what? I'm gonna study some figure out who's the current black baseball players. I'm gonna do that. I'll throw some names out.
The best one is Mookie Betts. He plays for the Dodgers. He's really good.
Is Andrew McCutchen? He's still playing?
No, I don't think so. No, he's not anymore. Yeah.
Shit.
So Mookie Betts. Hold on, I'm missing a really big. There's a really, really big name I'm missing. There's several, but there's one guy that's like.
Should I write to Kyle Murray and say, can you just play baseball so I'll know I have one baseball player?
I can't. There's a lot of Hispanics. That's all I'll say.
That's all y'all. That's all y'all got.
A lot of us.
You got that. You got the boxing.
You got the boxing. Yeah.
We gotta talk about some boxing. I mean, it's been a minute since I really sat there and watch it, but we gotta talk about some boxing. We'll do our thing. All right, guys. I'm rambling. Appreciate you guys. We'll let you know when we come back on. Definitely next Wednesday, but maybe if we'll do like a show on Monday. I guess it depends on how tired we are throughout this weekend. So
true.
Keep it locked. Like, share, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Appreciate you guys for staying with us as long as you do. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.